Hey guys, welcome to the channel again, and today I have a really great class for you. I would say education class. So I know that in the past we have discussed about ChatGPT and how it can help you with the code research. So this time I have a different tool for you, and this one here is called Upcodes. Now many of you have used it, but something that is very cool is that starting last year they really came out with this Copilot AI powered code research analysis that you guys can do. And I just want to show you guys this new tool. So let's go to the channel here. So let me start by saying that the first thing is that I really recommend you guys to go to YouTube, right? And look at this webinar. So a lot of the graphics that you see in here are really taken out of that specific presentation. So I really recommend you to watch this one. And in this presentation, it's going to give you an introduction, everything Upcodes of, specifically how to implement Upcodes Copilot into the workflow, and at the same time it also has Q&As, and it also has interview with Ignite Design that they have. It's an MEP company that has been using that for the last, since it came out. So, and again, this is dedicated really for also architecture firms, whether you're a freelancer or a little studio or you're an interior designer firm. So really excited to showcase this tool, and kind of this is going to be a quick overview about how to use this tool. How does this apply with other tools, AI powered tools that can help you do code research? So other tools that are very cool is, like as I mentioned before, is ChatGPT, Perplexity, Cloud, Gemini. All these tools are great for you to kind of do that code research. But the thing about this one here is that it's specialized in code, and it does have a lot better UI and user experience when it comes to code research than you would have with ChatGPT or Perplexity, just because this one here it's dedicated for that specific reason, which is code analysis. So if you're really looking for a very powerful tool that is going to be dedicated to this and is going to save you a lot more time, and at the same time you have a lot more capabilities when it comes to putting things into folders, having these suggestive diagrams, and at the same time just being able to have that versatility to compare codes and utilize different code sections, then this is a tool for you. If you just want to do more big just code analysis that you don't need those like fancy tools like that, then potentially just ChatGPT or Perplexity will be the solution. But I do feel like almost any architecture firm should have a tool like this in their arsenal. I already went a little through the overview. I'd recommend you to kind of look at YouTube. Just put webinar, accelerated building code and assembly and research with Upcodes Copilot, and it will give you first as a whole thing. So the great thing with this is that Upcodes Copilot can really leverage all these things that they already have into one single product. So along with that, you can ask for diagrams, you can ask for assemblies, you can ask for codes, you can ask for products. So that's the great thing about it. It's not just code research. Along with that, you have all these products here that Upcodes can offer and integrate all that into one product and research. So let's do with one of the use cases that I found great, which is, again, as I mentioned, the main thing is really the code research. And a little bit on that, really how it helps you is to kind of research faster, be more efficient, get insight, and get smarter. And for me personally, this has saved me a lot of time. I know in my experience that I would dread every time I had to go to a code and go to a website and try to get the PDF. And even if you have the digital or the hard copy format, still just go in there, grab it, open it, try to find it. And that's just if you're, and hopefully doing projects in your city. If you happen to now have to find a project that you're doing in a different city or a different jurisdiction, and now get that familiar to a completely different code, could be very challenging and time consuming. So I agree that a lot of the times, like, these are the main benefits that a Copilot can offer, not just the Upcodes or any other website as a code research, but specifically an AI power source here. This is more or less a little bit of the findings they did on the research, kind of the time saving on a few things on researching. Let's say, for instance, 2.2 hours research and adoption updates, amendments, and information. 4 hours on leveraging Copilot for rapid answers to questions. Yeah, again, this is like an estimate. I do believe like if you work in a smaller office, you might not get like the 5 hours of savings or anything like that. But in my personal experience, something that might take me like half an hour to do the research, it's gonna take me 5 minutes. So if you multiply that by if you're working on 7 projects or so at the same time, or 5 projects at the same time, even if it saves you 5 hours a week, it already pays for the subscription of it. So in 1 week, maybe in a couple days, right? So I think it's very useful. The great thing is like it's kind of you can kind of tailor code answers. It can give you can tell it to find like exceptions to it. It has a very low learning curve, so it's really like just starting a conversation, just getting familiar with what specific code you need to refer to. I mean, sometimes not even that. And again, you don't want to get too general questions, but you want to start with something a little bit more broad, but still specific enough where it can have where Upcodes can really take the information from somewhere. In the next YouTube video, we will do a workshop about how to use this tool and actually going into the tool and using it. But right now here I have a few screenshots on that last webinar on a few suggested things from them of how can you use it. So for instance, this is like a question you will type. So I'm designing a 10-story office building with a 1-story podium with retail space, a public space, parking, lobby, and core. What occupancy group should I be aware on based on this program? Right now, when you're using the Copilot, you will normally have like a window here that it will tell you just very easy, that it will kind of see what state you are on, what building code, or you want other specific code. So you just have to kind of click on those 2 specific things or 3 things, and it automatically will tailor all that information, all those questions you're asking to that. So for instance, if I was using ChatGPT, I would have to tell ChatGPT, hey, make sure you put it in the California building code for this and this and that from section this, and then it will find it. But or not, but it will be more difficult. But here it just has those nice little buttons here that you can do, and then it will tailor that question to what you give it. And it's great because then you can have it kind of gives you that, right? And from there you also get the reference sections, which again in Perplexity and ChatGPT you can get the same sources, but the great thing about here is actually has these little bubbles, and it will actually take you to a specific section. It gives you recommended sections here too. So the UI here is a lot, I think, more user friendly. You can bookmark it and make it part of a folder for a specific project. You can actually have their custom suggestive diagrams too, which I think is very helpful whenever sometimes you don't understand a code, or it's just too wordy. Just having like a diagram that it's just a visual reference of it could be useful. As another one here, So ideally, what you want to do is like once it gives you an answer, it's kind of like a conversation, right? Then you can kind of start giving it more questions that are more specific, right? But you generally start with a broader question, and then you kind of go more specific and specific and specific, and you can ask for, hey, about this, how will you do it? Or what will be an exception to this specific part of the code? Or I'm trying to integrate a specific product, how can I do that? So I thought that was very useful. Another one is just you can find assemblies here, right? So it can really help you kind of get assemblies, find assemblies for details, or even just recommendations for materials and things like that. And the last one, as I'm saying, like you can get those recommendations when you kind of start having a conversation and you want to integrate a specific product or specific thing. You can ask the Copilot, how can you integrate that for the code, and it can tell you whether or not you can do it and how to do it, and if there's an exception. Then that might take you hours to just do the research and find the product and everything. It can already recommend you the product, the assembly, and already give you the part of the code where technically you are able to use the product or not, and why, or if it gives you an exception. So that's very good. And lastly, again, the diagrams, which I think are very useful, at least personally to me. I mean, I don't have the 20 years of experience or 30 years of experience, which sometimes I can just read the code and just visualize it. But for me, it's very helpful to sometimes read the code and just kind of give me a reference of what I'm reading. It just makes it a lot easier. And you can actually bookmark and put that in a folder as a reference. So you're ever coming back, you're not typing again or trying to look at the conversation, but you can go directly back to the folder and have all that information that you already researched right there. So that's a quick overview of Upcodes Copilot. I really recommend this tool for, I will say, any architecture firm or interior design firm that really spends hours doing, code analysis. I know that this is great for at the beginning part of the project when you're in that concept and just trying to understand the constraints and setbacks or any other things, or whenever you're already in CDs or DDs and you're already trying to go through permit and you're getting punchy comments back with the specific things. And it's great because it can help you do the research a lot faster. It could help you find exceptions. And I even had like some people that told me that this is exactly, sometimes they will actually have been able to reverse what the city said because they were able to find an exception. And the great thing is like the way that Copilot gives you the responses is very professional. So you can almost pretty much copy paste that into an email and just adjust it just so it's maybe more tailored to a specific question of the examiner. And some people say that they literally respond like that to emails or something like that from examiners, and they have been able to turn their comments back saying like, hey, yeah, you're right. So I thought that was also very useful to start kind of use it as a power source to not just research but also respond and just learn more about the code. And you can also compare codes if you need to. So thank you so much, guys. And the next video we'll try to do a quick workshop about us actually being in the program and using it. So stay tuned. Thank you.